Alright, how do you submit the MapCruncher georeferenced map up to Canvas? So first of all, when you did this assignment, you should start off by creating a folder somewhere in your computer. For the moment, I'm using the desktop as a location. I've created a folder called SSU map, and I've put my original campus map image in that folder. That's the one that I'm using to do the georeferencing with. So I've used that map and I brought it into MapCruncher, and I did my georeferencing. I've laid down my control points both in the air photo and in the map itself, and I can see that my RMS error is fairly low, so that's good because that's what we're shooting for. And I'm also eliminated some of the white area. That's what's indicated by the pink here, so that that won't show up in the final image. So when that's set up and it looks like I've got things pretty much where I want them, I want to save the mashup, which is going to create the yum file, the file that ends with the yum. So I'm going to go to Save Mashup As, and I'm going to pick that folder, the same folder where I put the map image that I used to do the georeferencing. And in that folder, I'm going to name this file, this mashup file, and I'm going to call it Luna M. So I know it's mine, and when I submit it, it'll be obvious whose it is. So I save it in there, okay, and that's one part of it. And then I'm going to render the georeferencing, which is going to create a version of it that can be viewed in a browser. So I click on the render button, and what I want to make sure here is that I'm going to specify where that rendering is going to go, because when I do this process, it's going to create a bunch of folders and files, and I want to put those all in the same place where I can find them, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip them all up and submit those. So I hit this pick button here. This is what was talked about in your book, and I want to specify that I'm going to the right location. So in my desktop, I created this folder called SSU map, and that's where I want the output to go. So I select the folder I want to put the output to, hit OK, and I see that path is designated right there so that you know where it's going. And then I just start it, and it's going to run through and do the rendering to create that georeferenced image. And so in fact, when it's done, you can see the results down here, View Results in Browser. So when I click on that, what I should see is something that looks like this. And here you basically have your georeferenced map, and it's lined up hopefully with the streets. That's one thing that you're being evaluated on. And secondly, I've eliminated a lot of the white from the map so that you can see through it, so it's a little bit of a transparency going on. And getting that to come out just right is kind of hard, so you want to do your best shot at it, but at least attempt it. And that's what you want to see. Now, just a warning here. It appears that the resulting view, this view here, really seems to only work really well in Firefox, Mozilla Firefox browser. It doesn't seem to work very well in Google Chrome or in Internet Explorer. So if you try to render it, try to preview the rendered results in a browser and you didn't see the map itself, chances are that's the problem. It needs to be viewed in Mozilla Firefox, and I'll talk about that again later when I talk about how to peer review these maps. So in any case, once I've done that, essentially it's ready to go. So the next step is I'm going to take the files that are in here, I'm going to zip them up so I can submit that. So I'm going to close this for a second, and I'm going to go back and close the rendered window, okay, because that's already been done. And I've already saved my yum file, so I can close the mashup. It said, do you want to save changes? I'll say yes, because I made some changes when I rendered it. Okay, so now what's happened is when I did that rendering, it created all these new files. I showed you that folder originally, and we only saw the one image, but now you've got all these other files, and these are all kind of important because these are what we're going to use to look at them. So in order to do the peer review, you need to have all these files. So the question is, how do you submit this? Well, this is where the zipping comes in. So ideally what you want to do is you want to capture all this stuff at once, and the easiest way to do that is to go up one level in terms of the folders so you can see the folder that contains all that stuff. And if you've installed a zipping program like WinZip or 7-Zip, or maybe you have a native zipping program and a compression folder in there, you should be able to right click on that particular folder that contains that stuff. And if you have, for example, 7-Zip, you'll give you that option there, and you can choose how you want to compress it. Now the two things, there's only really two options you would choose here. You're either going to choose this one. It says add to SSU map.7z, and what's going on there is that it's already creating a new file name with the extension 7z to indicate the zip file, or alternatively add to SSU map.zip. Either way, it's going to create a compressed or zipped file that contains all of the contents of that folder, and that's what you want. So for this purpose, for this example here, I'm just going to go with the zip because it's more familiar to most people. So I'll add to zip, and what it'll do is it'll create that file. So now I just need to find that file in here, and if I scroll down, you see right down here, SSU map.zip. That file is the file that you need. It contains all of the content. It contains all of the output from the georeferencing process. So now I can take that file and I'm going to upload it into Canvas. So in Canvas, when I go to that assignment, the georeferencing assignment, you'll see the Submit Assignment button here. So I'll click on that, and you should see a button to browse to find your assignment. So I click on Browse, and I'm going to look for that file. And again, you always have to keep track of where you're saving these things too. So luckily I've named it, and let's see, where are you? Oh, it's not in alphabetical order. There we go. Let's see. Okay, there it is right there. SSU map zip. It's about 6 megabytes, so it's not tiny, but it's not large either. Open, and then submit assignment. Okay, and that's it. And then you should submit it. And the next part will be then the peer review. And again, the peer reviews have just become available as of Sunday night, and I'll be talking in another tutorial about how to do the peer review.